Okay, so now once you've gone through and you've built each section and you've modified your outline based on what you're building and you're really happy with what you have, and you think your map is done, although, by the way, I wouldn't necessarily even wait till you're done to do this. I would wait till you get a significant portion of your map done, and I would venture into something called testing mode. Now, a very large part of my profession, 90% of what I do in my career is testing software and how software fits together to form an end-to-end business workflow. So let's pretend that I was making software for a bus company, and there is a system which calculate or that has the Google map of the city of all the, and in that system I create the routes as the dispatcher maybe, and then I work with the civil engineers to understand what routes will be what the bus will be taking. And then let's say, oh, watch this. This is going to be fun if I can do this correctly. I think I can do this correctly. I didn't do it correctly. I totally screwed that up. I wanted to have the skeleton shoot the creeper to give me some more records, but I totally flubbed that up. Oh, does that lead up to the surface? I think that might lead up to a surface lake. That's interesting. I don't want to go too far down the ravine, though. I thought this might be a good room for slimes. Whoa. Actually, I'll use the bucket of water on this. Let's make an obsidian block. I was going to just jam it up with dirt, but why not? So this could be a slime room. There's some more flint. Yes, so testing. So we have the map, we have all of the bus routes, and then we want to have another program that monitors how many people are picked up at each stop at a particular time of day, and then recalculates optimal schedules, both from a profitability perspective as well as from a meeting the needs of the commuter's perspective, right? And so I might test that all of these pieces of software work together, and maybe actually there's a special piece of software that... Are you a regular spider? Hey, you chill out here, bud. You are a regular spider. That helps with traffic and sending notices to bus drivers of, hey, there's traffic in this area. You need to route around it and take a longer path, but it will be shorter in the end because you avoid congestion, right? So all of these pieces of software might work together, and my teams would come into a business, design the software, implement it, or connect pieces of software together that are already created by businesses or other vendors, and we connect them together into one end-to-end system that makes the business successful. And notice I say the business because we don't implement software just to have technology, but it's actually to serve a business need. That's very important in what I do. So testing, what I typically like to do is test each individual component as it's built, and I might call that something like unit testing. And there are software development standards out there that you can read, and you can get a lot of these best practices as well if this is a field that you're interested in. as a potential career. I'm not making any of this up. I've just done it enough that I know some tips and tricks, and I've been able to relate it into my map making to make map making go smoother. So testing is hugely important. And you need to test the individual components. So does this redstone device work by itself? Then you need to test, does that device work within the context of the scene and the story and all those other columns that you created, the gear. Does the gear that you were given allow you a way to circumvent that awesome device and just pickaxe through the vault door instead of putting in the code, right? Or use your water bucket to climb up over the wall that is supposed to be unpassable till later in the story. Those are things that you need to test for. And you need to test, in my opinion, as different roles. So I heard the sound of a dropping mob. You may need to test for the role of a player who is new to the game of Minecraft and doesn't really understand the cliches and the combat styles. So you may need to add something in your map to give them a tip. You may need to play in the role of somebody who is trying to break your map, and you need to basically build it in such a way that you safeguard against the player being able to cheat. You need to play through the map from end to end and test it in the role of the average player. Now, you can do this if you're the right kind of person. You can do some of those things simultaneously. So you could take one route through your map and try to cover all those things at once. I tend, from an organizational perspective, I tend to like to do them one at a time. So I will do multiple iterations. The first iteration, I'm focused on X. And you know I'm easily distracted, so it might take me 4 or 5 iterations through the map before I've tested for all the different roles and all the different key components that I want to make sure work. And then what you need to do, and this is like, oh, and by the way, you typically would test it in the mode that you're going to have the player play it in. So if you're making a survival map, don't test it in creative mode, because what you're not seeing is you're not seeing the player's hunger at each point in time based on the amount of navigation and movement you've forced them through. And so you might not know if you've given them enough food to do what you need them to do, for example. So keep that kind of stuff in mind. And again, you know, some of this may seem basic to you, some of this may seem very advanced. It's something that I've kind of developed over many, many years of being in the software industry, as well as making Minecraft maps. And you're not going to get everything right the first time. Bugs are fine, and you will find in your Minecraft maps that you have designed something that is not a bug. It's the way it's designed, but it doesn't fit. It doesn't work for the player, for the average player. And you're going to have a choice whether you acknowledge the fact that your design needs to be updated. Again, not saying that your design is wrong, but are you mature enough to accept that A, it doesn't fit all players, it will fit a niche of players, or it will fit a majority of players, or it'll fit nobody. And you can choose to adjust. You could call it fix, you can call it change your design, or not. You can say, hey, I know that in Tiny Minecraft, once I've filled all my plots and used up all my TNT, there is nothing else that the player can really do to increase their scoreboard except gather money or gather blocks. And there's no real end game. At that point, the game just continues forever with the player gathering more and more blocks. That's a design choice that I made, and it's based on the way that Tiny Tower and Tiny Death, or really Tiny Death Star is my main inspiration. It's based on the way that those games go forever. Now, in those games, the idea is that the game company will offer additional DLC or downloadable content, and eventually, you know, without having to restart your game from scratch, you'll be able to add new types of floors and plots over time. Where at least at the moment in Minecraft, there's not really a good way to put downloadable content in your map. For what it's worth, I can tell you that jGazMom and I have had a bunch of discussions about how we could do downloadable content. We have some ideas. Some are not as technically feasible as others. So at present, I don't have a good solution for downloadable content, but I digress. So testing your map is super important. Being as open-minded as you can is super important because your players are going to think of things that you don't. I don't care how long you've been doing this. I don't care how good of a map maker you are. Your players will come up with things that you did not think of. That is the gorgeous nature of humanity. It is so awesome. I can't really convince you of it if you don't believe that until you experience it and believe it in your heart. But it is absolutely true. I can promise you that from my perspective, it is absolutely true. Life will find a way, as said in Jurassic Park. Not Alan Grant, that other dude. That other dude, Ian McShane. I don't know his name. Jeff Goldblum's character, or was it Hammond that said that? So, okay, you've tested your map. Now, this is like one of the most freaking important things. It's very, very, very important where you log out last as the map creator. How many levels you have and what is in your inventory. There are very, very simple ways to clear your inventory, clear your death counter, clear the levels of XP that you have before you save that map and distribute it. And the last test that you should do is actually to log out of your map and then start fresh as if you're a player. And when you and delete your player.dat file, although I think that file's going away in 1.8. Delete that file that has your current player data in it, because when a new multiplayer logs in, they're gonna start with nothing and an empty player.dat file. Log in and test that your initial login procedure is not screwed up, meaning you didn't log out in creative mode with an inventory full of stuff you don't want the player to have. It used to happen a lot more than it does today in the maps, in the over 600 maps that I've played, but it does still happen, and it is still really confusing to players and annoying to start off with something you don't have, you're not supposed to have, and it can really ruin the experience of the map. Okay, I am not having slime chunk luck, just kind of randomly digging, looking for slimes. I failed to build a slime farm, and then I converted the room into a tree room anyway. So I think at this point I'm going to head back because I'm almost done talking about map making for now. And I have an appointment in about 10 minutes that I have to get ready for anyway. So I'm going to head back, and I may dig, depending on if I have enough to talk about, I may dig that tree room and extend it longer, hoping to run into a slime chunk. Or I may go up and try to find a slime biome, because I really do want some slime balls to make leads, at a minimum for horses. Because I do want to at some point employ horses as a means of transporting the player from one location to another. So we've covered, on my way back, I'll just finish out this thought. We covered theme, we've covered design principles, we covered iterative outline and design, we've covered building, we've covered testing. Now notice I didn't tell you how to build anything. I just told you how to basically think about map making. And we covered testing, and then we covered the final bit, which is that final test and logging out in the right spot, which totally is important to mention. Log out where you want the player to start, not at the end of your map. I've seen that happen too many times, and that is so confusing. Okay, last bit. Teasers, trailers, tweets, and forum posts. The only way that your map is going to get seen is if you put it out there on social media. The best way that your map is going to get seen is to put it on YouTube with some good keywords. Oh, my tree didn't grow. Maybe I moved too far away. With some good keywords that people can actually find your map by doing sort of random searches, or obviously get, find a way to get lucky and have a well-known YouTube channel play your map and get you exposure that way. There is really no substitute for YouTube. It is part of Minecraft community. It is the way that maps get noticed best. Second best way, in my opinion, is a site called MinecraftForums.net, the official Minecraft forums. The third best way, and I'm going to come back to that in a second, the third best way, in my opinion, is Planet Minecraft. And then there are a number of smaller sites that host Minecraft maps. The reason that I say the Minecraft forums are the second best way, I think Planet Minecraft has, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, slightly less total viewers, but probably more viewers looking at maps than the Minecraft forums. However, I find the ability to browse very restrictive. You can't easily filter out maps that are complete versus maps that are in progress. It's very hard to search and to kind of see things the way that you do in a list view on the forum. Just my opinion. Some people find Planet Minecraft easier. Plus, Planet Minecraft, everything is kind of together unless you filter out projects from skins. Whereas in the forums, if you go down into the forum thread for maps, you should only find maps. You shouldn't have to deal with skins and other stuff. Some people like Planet Minecraft better. I have nothing against it other than I just don't find it as useful. And I do occasionally go there, but usually only if I'm going to do a specific keyword search for something. Otherwise, the Minecraft forums, I tend to go there once a day and just browse and say, show me what's new. Planet Minecraft also has a lot of really cool contests. So if you are a builder, go there every once in a while. Just go see what contests they're running. They do a lot of build contests that are really popular. It's very, very important that in your forum post or in your Planet Minecraft, you give the player an idea of what the map is about and some visuals. Screenshots are probably best, maybe a trailer if you want to get fancy or if you have YouTube, that you can show them what the heck your map is like. Without pictures, you are not going to get downloads, period. If you don't know where to upload pictures, you can go to Imager, you can go to PhotoBucket, you can get free accounts on a lot of sites, and you can upload picture screenshots for free. Just Google. It's really that simple, honestly. Your forum post needs to have instructions about what version your map should be played in, if that matters. Some versions of the game will break things. Instructions on how to download the map, etc. And then you need to host it somewhere. If you are just starting out, you don't have a lot of downloads, you can host it on Mediafire for free, or you could upgrade for like $10 a month to a pro account, I think it is. You can host it on Dropbox, you can host it on other sites. My current favorite is curse.com. They will host your map. You can upload it to their server completely for free, and the more downloads you get points, and those points can be redeemed, for example, for PayPal or Amazon gift certificates. Some people like to host on Mediafire, for example, and then put an AdFly page between their forum post and that actual download in order to earn money per click from advertising. I find that AdFly to be super annoying as a map downloader, and I download a lot of maps. So somebody downloading 1 or 2 maps may not have that big of an issue with it. I really don't like it. But I understand why people use it, and it is part of the community and the process. So what I don't like is when I go to that site, and sometimes, not AdFly's fault per se, but the banner ads that they have will contain huge phishing attempts and huge potential to get viruses on your computer, which, as a map maker, to me, you should be doing everything you can to spread the enjoyment of the players, not to make money. We don't make money off this unless you get commissioned or unless you're getting YouTube money. It takes so many clicks to get money from AdFly. It's just really, honestly, not worth aggravating your players. Okay, rant off. It's very important. Twitter is good. If you can tweet and you happen to catch the right people at the right time and they retweet or favorite, tweet about your map, let people know it's out there. Obviously, don't spam. That doesn't ever work. It doesn't ever work. It just makes people annoyed. Teaser trailers, forum posts. A map trailer on YouTube is so much more effective than a screenshot. However, a lot of people don't like to give away spoilers. Perfectly understandable. And you can decide on your own how much you want to do. But my point is, the only way that so there's 3 things that will make your map successful in terms of downloads, if that's what you care about. First of all is putting it out there in places that people can get to it and have a high chance of finding it. So if you have a YouTube channel and you only get 1 or 2, let's say 10 views per video, making a trailer not going to help, because unfortunately just nobody's going to get to your trailer to see it. You need the right keywords and the right circumstance to get views. Once you have the view, once somebody comes to your channel and sees the video, this is where the first 5 seconds to 30 seconds of content are important, and you need to show them something that encourages them to click further, to subscribe, or to continue interacting with you. So first you need to get them to your channel, which is outside of your control, but there are things you can do to help get them to your channel. Then you need to wow them with what content you have, and then you need to make it easy as possible and describe it as easily as possible how they take the next step to download your content. And without all of those things kind of working together, quite frankly, you are not going to become a popular. You are not going to have a high number of downloads, which is what a lot of people do this for. I do find it interesting to look at the number of downloads that I have, just by the statistical, nature of who I am, not because I'm trying to be the biggest person on the block. But a lot of people want downloads, and that's fine. Number of downloads to me does not equal quality of a map, but certainly if you do get a lot of downloads, that might be a good indicator that it's a decent map. So those are the important things that I really wanted to cover in this topic. I don't know how many episodes this was, but I hope if you're watching this that you got something out of that. And when I come back, I'm going to make a decision about what to do about these